All right, so we are going to jump in. First and foremost, we need to go through a couple housekeeping details in case you guys are not aware. I finally let Kelly order candy, so there is chocolate in the office for when you're here. I know that
Hallelujah.
most of you have been avoiding the office because there was no candy. We had crappy Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
It is restocked and replenished. There are York peppermint patties. There are Snickers bars. There's Twix. You guys can all rest assured that there's sugar fix here now.
Molly, we need to
got that
go.
out the way. Are you guys all aware that this is the last few days of March? I know it's a little bit crazy. One of the things that we have talked about over the last couple of years is as we're doing business planning, we talk about, hey, many of us create a business plan and then we say, we're going to draw this up and we're going to use it and we're going to look at it daily and we're going to work by this. And this is going to be our kind of Bible for work, whatever you want to call it, right? Your planner, this is it. And then in 2 or 3 months, it goes in a drawer. Things get sidetracked. You get sick. The kids get sick. A car breaks down. Something crazy happens. So I have decided when we did our last one that we would have a quarterly meeting so that we could look back at our goals and refresh our goals and even pivot or adjust whatever we need to do. So that's kind of what we're doing today. This is a little bit of mindset, but really is for you guys to think about all the things that you have done so far. And if you guys have not yet, there is a book called The 12-Week Year. I read it a couple of times, and I have a couple other people that have read it. And then I actually kind of created a course around it, which I'm going to get started here again shortly. We're trying to format some of it so that it's really impactful. And it's based around the 12-week year. I call it a 12-week sprint. So this is our quarterly review. Did you know that the year is 25% over? Are you guys 25% the way to your goals? I see Kelly shaking her head no.
No.
So I had a goal to close 12 properties, which is one a month. Which is not some lofty goal. And we are in month 3 and I have closed 1 and it was a mobile home at $115,000. So that also didn't even help me meet the goal I have per commission. So anybody else want to tell where they're at in their process for the year?
I'm on 1. I have 10 scheduled, but I'm on 1. Working on 3.
Cool. Anybody else want to chime in?
I had a goal of 2 deals a month, 24 deals, which I didn't feel was really too lofty. It was 5 more than I closed last year. I closed my first one Friday, and it also was a mobile home. And my buyer is so happy because we had a humongous price reduction, but that also reduced my commission to peanuts. So I'm not where I want to be, but I put in a lot of footwork for some future success. And I got 2 buyers getting pre-approved. So that's my silver lining. So hopefully they each refer me like 15 friends and I should still hit my goals.
Cool. Anybody else want to chime in?
I love her optimism.
Yep, I do. I love it. All right. So I'm gonna click on my little slide here. So 25% of the year has passed already. Are you looking at your numbers? That's something you guys should be doing every single day. You should be looking at your numbers and you should be looking at what you've closed so far this year. You should be looking at what you have in contract. And as Molly just said, you should be looking at the buyers and sellers you're working with. And then the other thing is you should be looking at how many calls are you making per day. So if you are so far behind, I mean, ultimately, like I said, I'm at 1 closing. We had 1 in escrow and it fell out. I wrote an offer, super solid, thought for sure it was going in escrow. I got beat. So I thought I was going to be at 3 and now I'm still at 1. So I did. Yep.
Multiple offers.
Yeah. So not to get too much on the sidebar, but Cheryl just said I got beat out. So $700,000 listing in Roseville. We wrote 720, shortened contingencies, shortened close times. He's conventional, 5% down, no closing cost credit, no nothing. And they wanted us to release our appraisal contingency. They wanted us to go to 725, and they wanted a 21-day close. So my client wasn't willing to do the $5,000 extra, and he wasn't willing to release the appraisal contingency. And I'm with him on that. I'm not a huge fan of that. Obviously, we had to do that in the past. I just don't think we're in that game quite yet. But they had 6 offers. The listing I put active last week was 435. We got to 462. That buyer backed out. I have a couple other buyers that are still kind of interested, but I also had 6 or 7 offers on that one as well. So I think you have to look at when you start to see that multiple offer situation, that's because those agents priced that house properly. The other ones that are sitting out there for 120 days, it's because the agents are not paying attention to the market. They don't know how to communicate to their sellers what's going on in the market, or they just want to have listings out there that aren't selling.
Gary, I have a question.
Yeah, for sure.
If your buyer had a loan contingency in place, wouldn't that cover the appraisal affecting the loan? Because they weren't asking you to cover an appraisal gap, just waive the appraisal. But
Well,
if
they were
you
no, they
still
weren't
have a
asking me.
loan contingency, wouldn't that cover the appraisal for the loan's sake? I'm just curious.
It's,
Sorry.
yeah, I understand what you're saying, and yes, it would cover it. But if you look at it, like I always, Stephen always says, if you have to go to court and sit in front of an attorney, what they're going to say is, did you use honest and fair dealings? You remove your appraisal, but you kind of let it fall on your loan. Well, the loan is still able to go through. Your buyer would ultimately have to pay the difference because the loan itself could still happen at a $700,000 appraisal. And it would be like, well, where's the difference coming from? Well, you remove your appraisal contingency. So therefore, your buyer said, I'm willing to pay the difference. Well, and I even said, how about if we do a gap of 5 or 10,000? And he said, no, I'm not good with that. And I just said, hey, here's your options.
Yeah, I would have waived the appraisal, gave them the 21 days and no more cash. And I just want to know if waiving the appraisal means I'm waiving it for the loan, because
You
for
are.
future reference.
So yes, so keep in mind. So you guys, just to make sure everybody understands Molly's question, and I'm going to use my scenario. So $720,000, or they countered 725. So 725 is the purchase price. $700,000, say, is the loan, is the appraisal value. There's a $25,000 difference. My buyer has the ability to get the loan. The loan comes in, we're approved, ready to go. Where's the $25,000 coming from? The loan is approved. Therefore, the loan contingency is no longer in place. I could fight and say, well, my client doesn't have the money, but one of the proof of funds was a bank statement with $200,000 in it. So I now can't say he doesn't have the funds. So I would be very, very careful to remove an appraisal contingency and hope that you can rely on the loan contingency, because I think you're, playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, I don't want to take any risk. I just wanted to know, because the appraisal is a requirement of the loan. So if that doesn't come through, the loan would not work, right?
Yeah, well, the loan does still work. The loan itself is approved. It's just approved at a lower dollar figure. So in a court of law, if you were to say, hey, I'm approved, my loan's approved, and we just don't have this money, this $25,000, they would say is, how did your agent allow you to make a decision to remove this appraisal contingency knowing you didn't have the funds to cover? And then it's really back on the agent. Why did you help your clients to make this decision, Molly?
Well, I didn't. I asked first because I want to be proactive. And I like, knowing legally, I want to protect my buyers. So I wouldn't, unless they were comfortable paying the difference.
Yeah. And for my folks, they weren't comfortable. And I would say probably in today's market, most are not going to be comfortable. And you're going to have every once in a while have somebody that comes in and says, this is the house. I don't care what it takes. I want to do whatever we have to get this property. Yes, you will have those, people that have that unicorn property that it checks all the boxes and price doesn't matter. So I wish we had 100 of those. So, all right.
Thank you. That helped.
Molly, you good with that answer?
Yeah, that helped a lot. You saved
Okay.
some future buyer. Thank you.
All right. So the other thing, like I said, we're just kind of recapping this. Here's Molly said is she got 2 more people pre-approved. So how many buyers and sellers are you working with? One of the things that Brent Go says is you have to go caveman. You have to have so many buyers that you are working with that when you have people that decide, oh, we're going to wait, we're going to see what happens with the market, we're going to see what happens with rates, that you have enough people in your corral that they're like, we have to buy today, we want to buy today, you know, we're busting at the seams in our small house now and the kids are ready for their own rooms, or I got to have a yard for the dog because it's tearing up the house, whatever their reason is. You have to find that you have enough people that have that true desire to buy. So when you think, hey, I want to close 12 deals, you don't need 12 buyers and sellers. You probably need 30 buyers and sellers, because you're going to whittle that down to 12 that are really, truly going to close, especially in today's market with the limited inventory that I don't see changing. But I will tell you, I went out to Roseville. They are building insane out there. It is Fitament, Winding Creek. It is crazy. And the prices are not horrible. 1,481 square foot, 3, 2.5 at DR Horton was like 535. I'm like, that's a pretty good deal, in my opinion. So I would absolutely be talking to all of your clients about new build wherever they're buying. I mean, they're building in Atomas, they're building in West Sac, they're building in Elk Grove. I don't know about Fair Oaks, Orangeville, Carmichael, but Folsom, obviously they're building a ton out in Folsom. Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, they're building a ton. I would go out and make yourselves familiar with all the new home builds for a couple reasons. You want to find out who's paying good commissions and who's paying crappy commissions. Because I went to Meritage and it was a $700,000 house and it's a $10,000 commission. But I went to JMC and it's 3% on their $780,000 house I was looking at. So, and another thing I found was a ton of them out there are building that little in-law suite. Even Kay Hovanian had a 650 or 680, and it had like 800 square foot little in-law unit with its own little kitchenette, full bathroom, stackable washer and dryer that could easily be a rental, in-law quarters, caretaker, whatever. So I'd be looking at stuff like that. Just an FYI.
I think they call that next gen.
Yes, there's a specific company. I was gonna say Lennar calls it
Lennar.
next gen, but yes, it's exactly the same thing. Tammy.
It's so nice. I love that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a great rental for those that are trying to downsize. You know, kids are leaving the nest. You don't need that caretaker anymore. Mom and dad, can move into the main house, and you have a rental. And I mean, a 1-bedroom is going $1,500 in Roseville. So a little in-law suite, you can probably get $1,000 to $1,200, which probably covers a big chunk of the rent or mortgage, I should say, or at least your taxes and your utilities. So to be able to have that expense cover would be nice. So just something to think about. And then how many calls are you guys making a day? Who here makes calls all day long throughout the day besides Cheryl Hansen? I see her on the phone all day long. Kelly says she does.
I do.
I was just going to say.
I'm on the phone all day.
Are you? Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
No way. My day is packed, but the reason I got my second buyer is I am making 25 calls a day to either leads, former clients, and asking for referrals. So one of my current people is from doing the 25 calls a day. But I'm managing 3 kids, a household, and all kinds of wonkus other stuff. So I can't be on all day.
All right. Well, when I say all day, I meant you're making a set number of calls, 25 a day, whatever. So in my 12-week sprint, we did an hour worth of calls just to get people used to it. And Vaughn McGee has a listing and a deal in contract and a new buyer, all for making calls every single day. And he's working graveyard shift right now for a job because he's still got to provide for his family. The other one is Marlon Rivera, just closed on a new home build in Lincoln from the same thing, from just making his calls every day. We started in the morning. He moved it to evening time while kids are doing homework. and they do homework. He calls this his homework. He gets in his office and makes all his calls. And he just closed like a $600,000 transaction in Lincoln, new build. So that has got to be something you are doing every single day, or block out 3 days a week that you make 3 hours worth of calls, or 100 calls a week, whatever it is. I don't know if you guys have heard this name, but there's a gentleman in our group named Nick Lynch, and he's not doing buyers and sellers. He's trying to do agent recruiting, but he does 1,000 calls a week. He has an auto dialer, and literally he is calling 1,000 people a week to try and recruit them. And these are people he has some form of relationship through coaching and some other things he's done over the years. He knows them through LinkedIn or Facebook. He has some form of touch with them. So, but he is using mass action. So a way to get out there. Just FYI.
Is Alex on the call? Alex Dyer.
I haven't seen Alex, no.
Oh, okay. I just had a question because I've been boosting properties
Yeah.
and through KV Core.
Yeah.
And so I've been getting a lot of leads, and at first I would call them like right away. And I was getting like, oh no, or I didn't, contact you or whatever. So it's like, okay, I'm not doing this. So I just started texting, and they're all on alerts. So I've been like making comments about the houses that they've seen or anything, but I'm not getting a big response.
So
Let's go.
I want to chime in on Cheryl's comment in case you guys didn't hear it. So Alex Dyer teaches our KV Core class. He's got, I know several people have been to the free trainings, but he also does like a 12-week training for like $100 or something. And he talks about KV Core, and he talks about boosting properties. So Cheryl's question was, she has been boosting some properties and she was not getting the greatest response. I also had a new listing last week on Wednesday. I boosted it and got 20 leads. Here's what I want you guys to remember. These are people on Facebook scrolling, and they happen to see a pretty house or a good price, and they pushed a button, and most likely their name, their email, and their phone number are all inside of Facebook. Facebook completes that document for them and pushes it into you and into your KV Core before they even know it. So someone goes, I never clicked on that. They did. They were scrolling, they clicked on it, it literally grabbed their stuff and pushed it on. So if you are using Facebook leads, you're getting someone that's scrolling. I'm not saying you won't get a lead. Out of my 20, I've called every single one. One guy said, yes, we're looking to buy. This house is too far from where we work, so it's not going to work for us. But I said, hey, let me get some information. Can I stay in touch with you, give you some more information? What area do you want to look in? So out of those 20, cost me $60. I have a lead that's fairly halfway lukewarm. If you guys have the opportunity, I would say Google ads are going to be considerably better, but KV Core is easy. You push a button and it will boost a listing for you. I did boost a couple of new homes. Like I said, I was out in Roseville this weekend, and I've tried that, and I've gotten 3 leads on $120. So considerably more money spent. But it's also, I rent to $600,000 and $800,000 where my listing was $400,000. So I think some of that is price point. But at least those people are into your KV Core. They can look at pretty houses anytime they want, and it will send them updates, and you can text them, email them, and call them from your service or from your CRM. But the great thing is, I would tell you guys, is text is always best when you're trying to cultivate that lead. Text is really your best avenue. Like, hey, I found this other one that's similar price to where you were looking before. Are you interested? That's what I would start to do. That's how I would engage people.
Gary?
Yes, sir. What you got, Tony?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
what was
sir.
the price? What was the price of the one you got 20 hits on? What was the price on that one?
$434,900, and it's down in Rosemont, right off of Watt and Keeper.
Cool. All right.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to run Google ads. You go, any, best deals in Sacramento under 500,000. That way you're still getting people that are looking and that have a price point. You could do new construction. You can do, fixers. There's lots of different ways to grab people's attention. And the ultimate goal is to get them to give their information confirm that it's accurate, and then just to follow up with them, or let the system continue to touch them and follow up with them on a regular basis. And KV Core does that by dripping similar properties to them on a regular, consistent basis until they opt out, which one of mine already opted out. So. All right, so we're diving in. My third slide. If you're not where you want to be, you have the ability to change now. This was kind of the thought process behind my initial comments were, hey, we all do our, initial business plan, and then we put it in a drawer and we forgot about it. So we're a quarter of the way through. Molly has a goal of 24 deals. She's closed one. So now she needs to change, and she needs to look at, I need to close 23 deals in 9 months. So she needs to recalculate her numbers, probably recalculate her number of phone calls, and may need to adjust or pivot and put her head down and just run as hard as she can, whether that is more open houses, more interactions with buyers and sellers, more lead generation, paying for Zillow, whatever it is. There are options to get out there, but this is where you guys have the ability to change and adjust, pivot, and do what you need to do. And if you're really far off, like, hey, I'm not even close, why not make a new plan? There's nothing that says I have to create my business plan in November. Most of the time we wait till January to create it in the first place, right? So if you haven't made a plan, make a new plan or update your plan if you're so far off. There's nothing wrong with that.
And it's 8 months, Gary. Month 3 is over. So I need to have 23 deals in 8 months. No new plan. I'll rather shoot for the stars and hopefully get 20 close to. I'll be happy.
Gotcha.
But I was going to say, I'm going to do all those things that you mentioned, except paying for leads up front. That's kind of my hard line right now.
Gotcha.
That's my own thing.
There's nothing wrong with that. I have seen it work. I've seen it not work. So, you guys can decide how you want to do it. Audrey Cheek is paying for leads. She's at Zillow, and I want to say they're literally $1,000 a month, but she has 2 solid buyers pre-approved looking in $700,000 range. So for $1,000 to make 20,000 in commission, I might do that. So just an FYI, something to think about. Like I said, I'm not telling anybody what to do, what not to do. I'm just saying you guys need to each look at what's working for you or what's not working and how we can, change it up. All right. Anybody else questions, comments?
Yeah, I have something.
What do you got, Cheryl?
So back to when you were talking about pricing, your house and doing the multiple offers and stuff. So I've been trying to follow Ryan Lundquist, but I missed his last thing he did.
Yeah.
Do you have any updates from him as far as what pricing's doing?
He's the only thing I saw from Ryan, just so you know, Cheryl's here in the office and her question was, has anybody seen any updates from Ryan Lundquist? And he has said sellers were like, I don't know how we're in hibernation.
Yeah.
Is kind of what he said. That was the last thing. But I also saw before that was that literally the market started to thaw was the word he used. And he said, for those that are out there that have to sell, the people that are like, I'm raising my hand because I have to do something. I have a divorce situation. I'm leaving, the area. We can't afford our house, whatever that reason is. Those people are like, I have to sell. I have to get out. Those are the people that will price accordingly, listen to their agent, hopefully. And, those are the properties that are really going to sell. I kind of watch the market as a whole on a daily basis on MetroList, and maybe 4 or 5 days a week, I really look at it. And I watch, there are certain properties I go, that's a good deal. And I save them in a cart, and I watch that cart every day to see how many new ones I add and how many go pending. So I kind of watch that as kind of my own little hot sheet. Yeah. It really comes down to if it's priced appropriately, and anything under 500,000, in my opinion, is selling. It is moving, even at we just have Jen has a good friend, and she just called us. She's like, hey, I got approved for 410. Her brother's a real estate agent, so she's using him. But I'm like, at 410, I'm like, you're killing yourself. You're gonna fight. You got to be looking at 350 to get to 410, because you can't be looking at 410 because those are going to 440.
Yeah.
Can you send me Jen's number? 410, huh? How does she feel about North Highlands?
No, she won't do North Highlands. I talked to her yesterday. Yeah, she's looking at like Rosemont, Citrus Heights, Curtis Park. She'll do a 2-1. She's a single gal. She's her and her dog. But yeah, no, she's not doing North Highlands. So it really comes down to, I mean, and here's the thing, I'm making phone calls to agents and I'm like, you've been on the market for 100 days. I'm coming in 50,000 under your ask. And I'm just saying, what would your client say? No way, they won't look at it or give me an offer. I'll present anything at this point in time. So don't be afraid to make those calls out there, guys. That answer your question, Cheryl?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's just.
Gary.
Hardly any inventory.
Yeah, hang on one second, Tony.
Where I'm looking at anyway, it's just really not too much inventory.
All right, so Cheryl's saying there's not much inventory, which does definitely go back to what Ryan Lundquist said, which was, hey, the sellers are kind of in hibernation unless people are in a position where they have to sell. So now is where you are all going to earn your money. And that is you have to figure out how to find those sellers that need to sell. This is where you're going to start to database farm. You're going to start to farm neighborhoods. If you have clients looking in North Highlands or Citrus Heights, or Cheryl does Penryn and, ranches, you're going to have to start to market to those people a letter of some sort, some kind of postcard, some kind of information that will get in front of them that says, hey, I have a buyer looking for your type of property. Also, because of the thawing, anybody that went canceled probably from like August to December, January, I would be looking at all those withdrawn, canceled, expireds, and I would probably start to market to those people too. Hey, you wanted 500,000. I think I could get you 500,000 now because the market's thawing out and springtime's coming. So I'd be having those conversations also. I'd be looking at holds and canceled and expired. Tony, what you got, buddy?
Have you or anybody on this call used Corfact for marketing material?
I've used Corfact in the past, yes.
Do you know, I mean, how did it work for you, or how does it work for anybody else,
When I lived over in Wood Creek, I did like 200 postcards a month for a year. I did not get a single phone call. Now, it could have been just the area. It could have been that my face isn't pretty enough to grab anybody's attention. It's just one of those things. You have to be consistent no matter what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And sending one postcard out a month, telling people I'll give you the value of your house isn't enough. You really need to be blanketing the neighborhood. You need to be knocking doors. You need to be doing open houses in the neighborhood. You need to be out and about where people see your name and face on a regular basis.
It's very similar to a farm.
Yes, exactly what a farm is. Yeah, 100%. Kelly.
Oh,
Sorry. Kelly said we got some questions in the chat, so she's gonna.
I was just gonna say that.
Okay. What do you got, Kelly?
Wants to know 2 questions. Where are these numbers to call coming from? And what's the best way to dial all of these numbers?
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in on that one too, just give everyone else an opportunity first, but new to KV Core, so I don't even have numbers to call, Gary. If I stop by sometime, will you guys show me how to get some numbers in my queue so I can make some phone calls?
Yeah, so a couple different things, just so you guys know. You guys can buy phone number lists. You can download phone number lists from lots of different places. You can actually download from Facebook. You can download them from Instagram. You can download them from LinkedIn. Those may not be your best source of phone numbers, but you can download a list of numbers and call sellers. And then, like I said, the other thing was, Ryan, and maybe you didn't catch this part, is I grabbed a listing that I had, and I also grabbed some new build listings, and I did what's called a boost.
Boosting.
Yeah, so boosting cost me $60, and I got 20 people to respond. It was like between 18 and 20. And so they gave me a name, a phone number, an email address, and said, I'm interested in this property. So like I said, I've called every single person. I want to say I had 2 or 3 bad numbers. I got like all 2s. I got like a Santa Claus or a Mickey Mouse or something, something stupid. But for the most part, I left messages for people, and then I started to put them in a campaign so that they're being texted. And I will tell you guys, my professional opinion is you've got to warm up a chat first before you dial. Just because Nick is making all those phone calls, and like I said, I'm not gonna ever stop him because he's just great on the phone. That's something he's really good at. I honestly believe you've got to text and have some basic conversation with people first. KV Core has the ability to do that. And then we have another software that we utilize has the ability to do that. And it allows you to engage and interact with them from a very passive, I am super removed. People are behind a screen. They can tell you to take a hike, or they can tell you, you know, everything they possibly want in a house. And then they tell you, I have a 400 credit score, but at least you can gain some conversations. I definitely think those are things you have to consider.
Okay, cool.
I agree with you, Gary. And also, just to point out, Ryan, you have numbers. Open your phone, download your email database, because a lot of them have phone numbers in the signature line, and plug all that to your KV Core. The people you know in your cell phone, that's not mom, wife, you know, you don't want to market to them. Everybody else should be free game, because that's a warm, they know you already a little. So that's where you really want to start.
100%.
Copy
Yep.
that.
100%. All right. Ryan, does that answer your question, bud?
It sure does. I just need to get into KV Core. I haven't even been in it yet. I just got access on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, you're just getting started. So Alex does some classes for free. He has a bunch of pre-recorded stuff. I will get you Alex's information so you can reach out to him and start to get some of that stuff, kind of some basics. Also, Inside Real Estate, who is the owner of KV Core, has a ton of training. It is right inside your KV Core. You can click on some buttons and it will literally have, I want to say it's probably 100 classes. And I would just tell you, practice, you know, one thing a day or once a week, depending on what your timeline is. You know, if you guys have work and job and families and everything else, plan one thing and watch the video and then implement that throughout the week. You know, if you could do that every single week, you'd have 52 things you'd implement throughout the year. You'd be a KV Core master by the end of the year.
Copy. Thank you.
All right. Who else we got? Questions, Kelly? Oh, that was it. All right. So last slide. I kind of kept these quick today, and we've gone on a couple little rabbit holes, but hey, I'm glad that you guys are asking great questions and engaging, because that is super, super important. The other thing is, if you're not hitting your goals, find someone or a group to hold you accountable. If there is a reason that you are not hitting your goals, it's because nobody else knows what your goals are. Monday mornings at 9 a.m. in this office in Roseville, I hold an accountability group. Everybody in this room is top producers. They are all having some of their best years, and they continue to do that. And the reason is they are in here. They have to put their faces on. They have to show up, and they have to tell people, this is what I'm working on. And even though you're only accountable to yourself, truly, when you say it out loud and you put it in front of 4, 5, 8, 10 other people, for some reason, there's something in your own head, just as a human being, that makes you go, I have to do this now. Because I am exactly the same way. I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to do that today. And then when I get like, you know, a little pressure on me, I'm like, I need to make 100 phone calls today. And believe me, I don't want to make 100 phone calls, but at the same time, when I get to that point, I end up somehow, some way figuring out a way to make 100 phone calls in a day. So, Miss Kelly.
All right, I used to do cold calling for a business and I hated it. One of the things the dilemmas that I came up with though is I don't know how to make these calls any better. I don't know how to change up my approach. I was doing the best I knew how to do. So what are some options for learning how to do your calls better?
That was a great question. Everybody hear that? Okay. Kelly's question is, what are some ways on how to make our calls better? So a couple things. There could be scripts, but in my opinion, you got to change your thought process from cold to warm. And Molly said it is open up your phone. Those are all people in your phone that already know you, probably like you, and most likely trust you. Those are the people I'd be calling above anybody else. That's my opinion. If you're going to be on the phone, I would be in my personal phone calling from that database. And then the other thing is, if you're out and you're trying to get, you know, cold leads converted over to, you know, your leads, open houses. Because at an open house, someone's walking through a door saying, I'm looking at houses today. And there's a reason I'm looking at houses, because I'm probably interested a little bit. And all you have to do is smile and say, here's some information. How can I help you? And they're going to either like you or not. You know, if you're Molly, they're all going to run away. If you're Kelly, they're all going to be like, hey, I want to work with you.
Don't make me find out where you live, Gary. That's sure.
So
I mean,
all you
yeah.
do is, like I said, open your mouth, be at open houses. I mean, Steve preaches that, Brent preaches that on a regular basis. You guys got to go where the buyers are. And in my opinion, Facebook is not where the buyers are. I mean, if you're selling a t-shirt or a cute little coffee mug that says, you know, favorite sister or something like that, that's where you're going to find that kind of stuff. But you're not going to sell a house usually on Facebook. But if you guys went to the panel last week on Thursday, Asher Bell, super great dressed black man, was talking all about his Instagram, and he didn't necessarily sell houses on there, but people would see him out showing houses and go, oh my gosh, I forgot my mom was thinking about buying, and Asher's my buddy. Let me put the two of them together. So your social media, in my opinion, should not be, I'm going to post stuff on social media because I want to sell this house. It should be pictures of you or video of you showing property. I'm out here today with my clients. I'm out here previewing these beautiful new homes. And that is something you have to do consistently over and over and over again to keep people top of mind. Oh my gosh, Molly, Scott, Renee, Tony, whoever it is, these people I know are always out talking real estate, being involved in real estate, going to real estate events. If I have or know of somebody, then I can go, hey, call my friend Tammy. So does that answer your question, Kelly? You
So
sure?
Kelly, I was
Maybe-
going to tell you, I make conversation. Oh,
Say it again. I'm sorry, Tammy.
sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're good.
I just wanted to tell Kelly, I make conversation wherever I'm at. Grocery store, wherever. I ended up handing out 2 cards yesterday, and these people are interested in buying in Citrus Heights. So I was like, and then he said to me, well, my sister's friend is a realtor. And I said, well, if you're going to go with me, you'll be signing an exclusive. So we'll be working just together. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I don't know. I guess you could just talk to people when you're out and about. That helps me.
100%, Tammy. I said this one other time. I got a name tag made that
Yes.
says Molly Brady Realtor.
Me
I
too.
wear it to my daughter's football, my son's baseball, karate class. It always looks like I just left a meeting, but what it
Yeah.
does is it tells a room full of people,
You're a
I'm ready to
realtor.
talk real estate. Who wants in? And it has really promoted a lot of genuine conversation. And then I've literally got deals in FedEx, the grocery store. I
Yeah.
mean, most random places, because they already see it coming. Like, hey, I'm wearing it right here. Ask me, and it helps.
Yeah, we did that together. That was a
Got
good
that
move.
from Kristen Spence. It was so
Yep.
simple, but it definitely has results, and talk to people everywhere.
It's like $12 for a really nice name tag. I ordered mine on Amazon. It has a little sold sign on the name tag.
So
It's
you're
just a
saying I can't
conversation
get the little
starter.
stickers at Staples and write my name with the Sharpie and just stick it on there?
Sure,
Not
Gary.
that guy?
You might
Whatever
get some
works.
ghetto fab clients that are like, yeah, all right, I like it.
You'll be under budget.
All right. So we talked about accountability. Like I said, there's the Monday class. But if you guys are afraid to get out of your houses, I hold a class on Thursdays, also at 9 a.m., but it's on Zoom. Zoom with Gary.live, Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. There is an accountability session. If you can't make it in here on Mondays, or you're afraid to get up that early, you can roll right out of bed. You don't have to brush your teeth. You don't have to do your hair, nothing, no makeup, just come as you are. Thursday mornings, 9 a.m. accountability session. Come check it out.
So you're calling it a pajama party.
Exactly. Kelly said it's a pajama party.
Brush your
I
teeth.
know, literally.
Labeled as that.
And then Gary calls you out on that after he already knows you're at home
See why
at 9 o'clock.
And it's okay to brush your teeth, people. Good hygiene. Come on, come on.
Yeah. And put your makeup on. You look better. Comb the hair.
I never put my makeup
Professional.
on.
Tammy,
You don't have to.
makeup.
All right.
I'm not in
Let's
there.
not get
but
too
I'll
far in
brush
the
it.
weeds. All right, next things, you guys could do is you could hire a coach. I know lots of coaches, $1,000 a month, 30 minutes once a week, or you can call me and talk to me for free. I've been doing this for 20 years. I have a couple of ideas here and there.
You have a
So you
lot.
guys can do that. The other thing you guys can do is look at what other agents are doing to be successful and copy them. You guys all know what R&D is. It's not research and development. It is rip off and duplicate. Find the agents that are out there making it happen right now. Run the numbers for who's closing the most deals the first 3 months of this year. Call those agents and ask to take them to coffee. Say, what are you doing? Are you doing open houses? Are you doing all new builds? Are you working your sphere of influence? What is it you're doing? Do you work with investors? Are you doing flips? Find out what those people are doing. Roxanne McCaslin and her daughter, Patricia Holter, I think have like 8 deals in escrow right now. You should call them and ask where they get their leads from. They pay for a lot of their lead sources. They do pay at close instead of up front, but it is something they do and it works well for them. All right, what questions before we wrap up here? Fine.
I think I'm good.
You guys all forget where your mute button was?
No.
Rip off and duplicate. That's hilarious. I give you
Rip
some
off?
street cred now, Gary. You should copyright that.
I stole
and
that from somebody too. When I get a
Okay.
chance to speak on stage at EXP, whenever that event is, I'm going to tell them I learned how to be a thief at EXP. I was taught to rip off and duplicate everything.
And then we're going to say we were told to do that.
Exactly. Yes.
It was a great idea from our
This
boss.
is all recorded. You guys will be able to watch it. You'll be able to save it. You'll be able to use it as blackmail against me later.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just going to change the wording. I'm going to say observation and application sounds a lot less fraudulent, but
How about rebuild
Thank
and
you, Gary. I appreciate it. You had some really good points today. I'm glad I hopped on.
yeah.
I gotta go.
I appreciate
Bye,
you
everyone.
guys. Don't forget, these are always recorded. And when you get your the mail on Friday or the email on Friday from Kelly, it has a link to get into all of our coaching training, everything for probably the last 3 or 4 years we've been recording. So you guys should have access to all that stuff.
Just tell them, make sure to check their emails that they're
Oh.
getting the newsletter.
Oh yeah, and also make sure you guys check your emails on Fridays. It comes from Constant Contact. I think it comes from New Vision Closings, right?
Yep.
No.
And it's your email.
Oh, it comes from my email. So
Oh yeah.
Kelly
That's
sends
right.
it out through there, but yeah. So thank you guys all for being
Thank
here.
you.
We appreciate you
Thank you.
guys. And
Have a
great
though
day.
even though you guys were here and a part of everything, you're still not cool enough to win the gift card because you're not here in the office.
But we're
But
still
that's all
cool.
right. We still love you.
Make it a great day.
Bye, y'all.
Have a great day.
Okay.